Hey Redemption Hill. We're coming to the end of 2024, and I'm excited about what is ahead for us in 2025. I truly believe that God has placed us in this place at this time for a reason, and we need to keep that in mind despite all the lead up and focus on this past election. Whatever you might feel about the results, that moment has come and gone, and we are still here, called to dwell in enduring and faithful presence. Remember that the kingdom of God is like a mustard seed. Its beginnings might seem small and insignificant, but it will exceed all expectations. And so much has happened this past year. We have so many opportunities coming up. It makes it difficult to attempt to capture it all in one report, but I wanted to tell you about a few things, some things that our members ought to know. First, an update on Dwell. We are heading into the end of 2024 with hope for a good, strong finish to the calendar year in giving. Our church continues to give faithfully. The Dwell Initiative has been a 2-year discipleship campaign that emphasized 100% engagement from the church, returning to serve and give and faithfully attend, as well as a campaign for stability and savings toward the future of a potential future home for the church. Remember, we had those two major goals. First, 100% engagement. The strongest aspect of the Dwell Initiative has been the engagement of you, our members and attenders, and the service teams are much healthier than they were at the beginning of 2023. You've really embraced the vision for Redemption Hill Church to be rooted in DC for the good and welfare of our city and the DMV. Beyond that, the call to dwell in enduring and faithful presence has provided Redemption Hill language and vision that the whole church has embraced. The second goal was giving, and to give $4 million. Our initial vision was to raise $4 million in total for ministry, operations, mission, and savings. The initial commitment that we received and projected total in March of last year was $2.6 million over the 2 years, and we're currently on pace for 90% of that total, $2.3 million. And so we are hoping for a good, strong end to the Dwell Initiative, and hope you will continue to give and serve as part of it. The next update I have for you is about sermon series. We started 2024 with a series in Ecclesiastes, that life is a vapor. It was a great reminder of the emptiness of every pursuit under the sun, and a good prod to poke at us and make us go into uncomfortable questions so that we could cling all the more to the unchanging Word of God. From the end of April through November, we've just finished a study in Hebrews, Jesus is Better, with a short break in August for a reminder of what God has called us to with a series in DC as it is in heaven. Hebrews was a glorious study that fixated on the supremacy of Jesus Christ, and I thank God for the reminder of and unshakable nature of Christ in his kingdom in the midst of an uncertain and fragile world. The elders graciously have given me a break through much of December so that I could rest before the new year comes, and during this stretch we'll hear from a number of different voices in a series that will walk us through Advent. And so I'm thankful for Joel Cornegay, Ollie Wright, Andrew Foote, Pastor Jeremy McLean, and Devin Watson, who will fill the pulpit through December. In January, we are beginning a new series in the book of Esther. The book of Esther is fascinating because it never mentions God's name. It's unique in the biblical canon for that alone. And yet, God clearly orchestrated the events of the book for the sake of his people. The book traces the rise of a young Jewish woman in exile who rises to become queen. And Esther is able to use her position and proximity to power for the good of people. The events recorded in Esther are remembered still and celebrated by the Feast of Purim, a celebration that remembers the survival of God's people and God's faithfulness. And so throughout our study in the book of Esther, we will see that even when God seems silent to us, or even absent to us, he is still sovereign and good. It'll be a helpful reminder to us and challenge us as we consider what it means to live as sojourners and exiles on earth, and how to utilize our God-given gifts and positions for his glory and the good of all people. You can pick up your Esther journaling Bibles starting this Sunday. The third update is about opportunities for you to be equipped. One of the primary themes from the congregational assessment we conducted with NL Moore this past spring was that you, our members, have a strong desire to be equipped for life and ministry and in some new ways. And so in the new year, we have some exciting things in store to begin to better equip you. After all, One of our core values is empowered members. First is a theological certificate cohort. Redemption Hill has a unique opportunity for our members, and potentially others who live in the area, to work in cohorts to dive into deeper study together, led and taught by the world-class faculty at TEDS, it's Trinity Evangelical Divinity School. The TEDS certificate program is specifically designed for church staff and lay people who want to go deeper but aren't ready to jump into a master's degree. It's designed to be utilized in church partnerships, and the certificates are stackable toward a master's degree should someone choose to continue. You can look for more information in my written report that's coming up, and for now, mark your calendar for a TED certificate interest meeting on January 26th. We're also planning a trauma care training. Marianne Hollander is working with leaders in the EFCA's Crisis Response Ministry to host a trauma care training here at Redemption Hill. It'll be a one-day seminar that will seek to equip you to step into life alongside people who are in trauma and in traumatic situations. It'll help you understand what will be helpful and what wouldn't be, help equip you to be ready to walk with people, including knowing how and when to get additional help to refer people toward. We hope the seminar will be hosted in the first part of 2025, so watch for details soon. In March, we are hosting a seminar on gender, sexuality, and loving our neighbors. On March 28th, navigating the issues of gender and sexuality are infinitely complex. For those who hold to a historic biblical sexual ethic, it can be difficult to understand how those convictions meet the call that we have to love our neighbors well. And so we have the privilege on March 28th to hear from Sam Alberry. I can think of no one I would rather have to hear from on these topics. Sam is a brilliant man. He has a loving and gentle spirit that has been shaped by his own story and his love for Jesus. So please mark your calendar now for March 28th. You won't want to miss that event. We have some other classes and seminars that are coming up. This past fall, we hosted a number of foundations classes and Community Groups 101 trainings, as well as a great Mercy Ministry workshop. And you can watch for more in the coming year. You can register now for a seminar on building a culture of discipleship that is being led by our Deacon of Mercy, Jordan Mitchell, on January 12th. We have a foundations class on January 26th. And the next CG 101 is on February 2nd for all of you who might be interested or ready to consider leading a community group. All right, we also have some staffing updates as we come to the year end. Our staff has had some important transition over the past year. In April, we began the congregational assessment and search process for our next associate pastor with NL Moore and Associates. That search was begun with the news that Eric and Alyssa McPherson would follow God's call into the next chapter for their lives and ministry in May. The work with NL Moore was helpful in clearly defining the needs we have at Redemption Hill and what would be the best course forward for us. So in May, we welcomed Marianne Hollander onto our team as our Director of Operations. Marianne made an immediate impact and has continued to grow into the role, further defining her job and clarifying the scope of her work over time. As Marianne has assumed increased responsibilities through the summer and into the fall semester, it has freed up Jess Mitchell to focus more than ever before on her actual job as Director of Communications. Jess and Marianne have been a great team. They work together closely with each other, and our whole church has benefited. We also are in the process of commissioning the Watson family into a new chapter of ministry for their lives, beginning in January. The Watsons have been at Redemption Hill for 7 years, and Devin joined the staff team full-time on December 1st of 2019. That's 5 years ago. They've been a huge blessing for us, and we look forward to blessing them as they move into a new role at Mercy of Christ Fellowship Church, and we'll get to more on that partnership in a minute. And we'll pray for the Watsons at our members' meeting on December 8th, and Devin will preach his final sermon on December 29th. His last Sunday at Redemption Hill will be leading worship on January 5th. In January, we then welcome a new staff member as Nathan and Marie Kasurik in May move to DC. Nathan will begin as an associate pastor for Redemption Hill Church. Nathan is an experienced veteran in ministry who will be a great addition to our team and to our work here in DC. I am excited to have an associate pastor on the team again. While we will need to allow for some time for the Kasuriks to adjust and settle into life in DC, and for Nathan to learn the ropes, I really anticipate that their presence alone will have an immediate positive impact for our church. And that leads us to what's already been mentioned. We have a new ministry partnership that has developed this fall, and Redemption Hill has entered into an official partnership with Mercy of Christ Fellowship Church. Pastor Jeremy McLean planted Mercy of Christ in 2017 in Lincoln Heights, DC. The church was planted out of Anacostia River Church, which is led by our good friend, Pastor Thabiti Anyobile. Both churches are part of the Crete Collective, which has an explicit focus on reaching under-resourced communities. And it's work that takes patience and a long view of intensely local ministry. Mercy of Christ made it through the pandemic and is at a stage in its journey and its story that it will be a tremendous blessing to have another full-time staff member to come alongside Pastor Jeremy. And so Redemption Hill's partnership with Mercy of Christ will include significant financial support to help make it possible for Devin Watson and his family to join the work there full-time. However, we'll work and pray to the end that the partnership goes much farther than just finances. Redemption Hill will be available to help however we can. As a church that's a little further along in our planting journey, we look forward to Mercy ministry opportunities and other ministry opportunities that we can support with Mercy of Christ as they reach communities that Redemption Hill is less equipped to reach. And we look forward to learning from Pastor Jeremy and from members of Mercy of Christ along the way as we join together for the good of our city. This is an important way for Redemption Hill to reach and reflect DC. Redemption Hill has committed $40,000 of support for Mercy of Christ in 2025. As a reminder, our fiscal year runs July 1st to June 30th. Through the first half of the calendar year, 2025, we will draw the support out of funds that were already allocated for missional investment, and will include future support in the annual financial plan for the 25-26 year that begins July 1st, 2025. And so we were actively seeking to a church plant in DC to partner alongside, and God has opened a wonderful door for that partnership. One of the most exciting ministry developments in this year for Redemption Hill has also been Redemption Hill's Youth Group. Back in September, we launched Redemption Hill's first ever weekly youth group, and we had no idea how many teens would come, or if any would. We had no idea if it would be feasible. We had no idea if there would be volunteers who would want to make this their ministry. But we trusted God's leading that the fields are white with harvest, and that He would bring us teens who could ask hard questions that they don't get a chance to ask about life and faith, and that they might meet Jesus and have their faith encouraged and strengthened. And God has been faithful to do just that. And so thank you to our team of faithful volunteers who have committed themselves to ministry on Sunday nights. We're having a great time every Sunday night. I mean, can you imagine playing hide and seek in the church with all the lights off? It's amazing. Through the fall, we've taken questions from our students on the things that they want to learn about most, and that's led us to address tough topics. I've had a lot of fun teaching through tough issues like how to be a Christian when none of your friends are, and how was the world made, and does it do any good to pray, or how should Christians think about government and elections? Is the Bible trustworthy and true? And so it's been a great time with these students, and look forward to what's ahead in the new year. We've also launched another round of our Bible instruction class, and so please keep praying that God will work in our fledgling youth group to bring students to Christ and to encourage the hearts of the kids who already know Him. Men's and women's ministries have been active this year and have plans for the year ahead as well. RHC Men have continued to hold a Tuesday morning Bible study for a faithful group each week. There's a team also that's working on a men's conference. So men, mark your calendars now for March 14th and 15th. You won't want to miss it. If you're interested in being involved in the men's conference or men's ministry, please reach out to Ryan Ferguson, who's leading up a team for the men's conference. For updates on women's ministry, the Titus II team report is going to hold more, but I will say the Titus II team continues to do a great job leading women monthly in Women in the Word or Topics of the Heart each month, and they're looking forward to hosting a women's conference February 7th and 8th, and so ladies, mark your calendar now for that weekend. All right, just a few more items worth mentioning. We are hoping to hold a special members meeting January 26th, and on that day, the purpose is twofold. First, It is a chance and an opportunity for all of you to meet the Kasuriks, and so we'll have a chance to hang out with them. And the second is that we're excited to present Rich Kang as a candidate to serve as an elder at Redemption Hill Church. Per our bylaws, the church has been given 4 weeks to respond, at least 4 weeks to respond before any action can be taken. We're also working on some governance updates coming in the new year. The elders have been working on some updates to our constitution and bylaws. Governance documents ought to be living documents that are adapted over time as a church grows and its needs change. And so both the constitution and bylaws require you, the members of the church, to affirm any changes. So we hope to present draft documents with full explanations by the March members meeting, with additional interest meetings and some governance seminars to teach on ecclesiology to follow up before potentially calling for affirmation to the changes at our June members meeting. And so keep an eye out for that in the year ahead. Another topic I know is on many of your minds is our music ministry. RHC's music ministry is an essential part of our church, and we are working on plans for what is next. We'll let you know as soon as we are confident in the direction for the future. In the interim, I thank God for the talented people in our band who devote their time and energy to leading us in worship each Sunday. I'm going to work closely with the band to make sure we do what we can to keep the consistency and excellence up on Sundays. And so as we look ahead to the end of the calendar year, please keep Redemption Hill Church in mind. Your generosity provides resources we need for ministry, but thank you for investing your time and talent and treasure into God's work in Redemption Hill over this past year. Let's join together in praying that God will do abundantly more than all we could possibly ask or think in the year ahead. I'm eager to see what kind of things God is going to do into work, and eager to continue to walk alongside all of you. And so thank you for the privilege to continue to serve you as your pastor. Thank you for taking the time to read the report, to listen to this video, and hear about the report. I'm thankful for the investment that our people make into this church, that our ministries wouldn't be possible without you. And so I look ahead to see what God will do in 2025.